Hi, everybody. We're going to be going live here real soon. Welcome to Missouri State's YouTube live event with Residence Life Housing and Dining Services. We're going to get started in just a minute. So if you want to hang tight with me, we'll get started soon. So welcome, everybody. We'll get started probably around 4 o'clock just to make sure everybody can have the chance to get logged on okay and not miss anything. This event will be recorded. So just know that you'll be able to go back and rewatch any of the information at any point in time. And know also a few things like the chat is a little bit delayed, things like that. We'll get started here soon though, and we'll remind everybody kind of some of those pieces. So we're excited to see everybody today. Looks like we're getting some folks who are joining us. That's exciting. Some friends from admissions, so welcome. Oh, that was a Sweet Missouri State mask. Yep, you can buy them at the bookstore. So, oh yeah, good deal. All right. How's it going, everybody? Everybody's getting connected. We got some viewership. That's wonderful. Wonderful. We have several folks who are watching. And just know, because there is a slight delay to that chat function, if you wanted to go ahead and start asking questions, you can. It'll be just a minute before I'm able to see anything. But know that you can ask away if you want here, just to get your question in early. And we'll get started here as a group in just a few minutes. So we're excited to see everybody here. All right. Good deal. Folks are joining. Looks like everybody's getting connected. We do have a few moderators on the line. They'll be helping us today with regards to answering questions, just giving you some helpful links and things like that. So yeah, we'll get to see those helpful answers. Hello. Our friends from admissions joining us. Hi there. Okay, good deal. Everybody's getting connected, it looks like. All right. Welcome to everybody who is signing on. We're going to get started in just a minute. All right. Good deal. Folks are 42. Okay. We're going to have a high viewership today. All right. Great. We're getting some questions in already, so that is wonderful. Feel free to go ahead and add your questions if you'd like to. That way they're in the queue for us to answer today. That would be wonderful. Okie doke. All right. Just a couple minutes away from getting started. I hope everybody's having a great week and getting excited about moving. So we got a lot of great things going on with regards to Residence Life Housing and Dining Services. Lots of things going on, planning taking place. So we're ready for you. We're excited to have you all on campus, and so we'll answer questions about move-in today, resources, all kinds of good stuff, so that we can get things going and answer any questions you might have and be ready for fall. So, all right. Great. Welcome. It looks like we've got some more folks who have joined us. We'll get started here. We got lots of good questions. Wonderful. Okay, and I'm kind of looking on a few different screens here, so don't mind me. I just want to make sure we're getting everything taken care of on all the different screens for the live event. Wonderful. Okay. Looks like we are just about ready to get going here. So it's just about 4 o'clock. So I want to just start by telling everybody thank you for joining us today on this YouTube live event here at Missouri State University. We're real excited to have everybody for this fall. So thank you in advance for everyone who is taking the time out of your day to come watch us here. We do have some moderators who are going to help us in posting links and resources and answers to your questions as we go along. We've got some folks from Residence Life as well as some admissions folks who are going to be answering questions. So, you'll be able to get an answer to your question, whether it's through my presentation or through hopefully the chat today. So we'll get you some answers there. We do have, just to let you know, Residence Life is back in the office. So I know there for a while we were all working from home, but we are back in the office, able to assist folks. And then we also are able to assist everybody virtually as well. So we've been doing a lot of virtual appointments to help with paperwork and things like that. So just know, that we are here to assist, whether it be over the phone, virtually, especially for those folks who are doing the virtual online source sessions and things. So, just let us know, reach out to us if you need any assistance at all or have any questions that we don't answer today. If we do have any rising seniors on the call or on the event today, just know that the housing application usually opens around October, but do also know that today's event is probably going to be surrounding questions about this fall and opening and things like that. So just know that. There is a little bit of a delay, kind of like I said, in the chat from the time that you post your question to the time that I'm able to see it. So know that I'm going to be a little bit behind on answering questions right out of the gate, but we will hopefully get to all the questions answered today. So, and then also, unfortunately, I won't be able to answer any personal questions on the YouTube live event. This will be recorded. So if you do have any personal questions about, questions about maybe a housing assignment or something like that, feel free to reach out to our office directly. And that way we can work with you one-on-one. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and get started and answer a few questions then. Again, everybody, welcome to the event. I'm going to start out by answering the first question. Will we be assigned a day and time for move-in? The answer to that is yes. Everybody will have a move-in day and time assigned to them. And in fact, this coming Monday, you're going to receive an email that's going to grant you access to be able to sign up for a time slot. So you're going to want to check your Missouri State University email this Monday. You're going to, once you get that email, you'll have access to go in and sign up for a time slot. We do have some students who are arriving early who have to be here on certain days like band. So be sure to check your Missouri State email on Monday. That will grant you the access to the link, and then you'll be able to sign up for a date and time from there. So next question, can you loft beds in Wells House? So unfortunately, you can't loft beds in Wells House or really any of our residence halls, but you can bunk the beds in Wells House. And in fact, you can bunk the beds in all of our residence halls except for Woods. Woods actually has a junior loft style bed already. And so in the junior loft style beds, you can essentially kind of put that mattress at a lower kind of mid-level height or up high to give you more space to put your furniture underneath the bed. But that again is only in Woods House. All of our other residence halls, you are able to again bunk the beds, which means you can stack the beds one on top of the other. You can get the bunking pegs from the front desk if they're not already installed on the bedposts themselves. Next, how will move-in work? So there's a lot of details to move-in. And in fact, you're going to be getting some emails in the coming days and weeks with regards to move-in. We're hoping to get some information out to you actually by Monday, probably tomorrow, and your email. Again, check your Missouri State email often and regularly. But we're going to be sending out a move-in brochure, and that will have some of the details with regards to move-in. But as we know, things are also changing kind of week to week. We're going to be sharing some additional specific information in your MSU email right before move-in as well. So we're going to be kind of giving you little bits and pieces here and there to make sure that you are truly ready, but you will have all the information and details. Know a few things. Move-in this year is going to be a week long. In fact, it's going to be from August the 9th to August the 16th. So it's truly a week-long move-in process. And that's going to allow us to essentially schedule no more than 500 students a day so that everybody can be socially distanced and follow kind of all the guidelines that the CDC recommends with regards to social distancing and things like that. But that does mean that we're only going to have so many students moving into any given building and any given hour. That way we can manage the number of folks in the building, kind of like, retailers do, where they only let so many folks, into the building or the store at a time. We're also going to be managing that through our move-in process. So it will be a week-long process. You will have an assigned date and time. Again, if you don't sign up for a date and time next week, then we will assign one to you, just again, so that we can manage how many people are moving into what buildings at what time. But when you get here for move-in, we are going to have a main move-in or check-in process, and it's set up under a tent in a parking lot where you can simply just drive through to pick up your keys, your access card, your Bear Pass card if you haven't already picked it up, and then simply drive to the building to start unloading. We do ask that during that time period that you limit yourself to taking just that hour time slot to get moved in, and that you only bring one other helper with you to, again, get moved in. That way we can truly manage the number of people in the building at any given time. And so those are a few additional pieces. We will have carts and laundry carts available to utilize during this process to help you get moved in quickly. We're going to ask that maybe there's only one family per elevator and things like that, just so that we can best sanitize behind families as they're moving in. Again, we're going to be sanitizing those carts between uses and things like that. So we just want to make sure that we have enough staff available to really make sure that we can get everybody moved in an easy and safe manner. So the next question, will the third room in Blair Shannon be open if you only have 4 people in your dorm? So in Blair Shannon, they are 6-person suites. I can tell you a few things. You will actually see, you can look on your mymissourastate.edu under the housing channel, and you can look under room and roommate summary, and you'll see there who is your roommate that is listed and who are your suite mates that are listed. Now, if there's no one listed in a particular room, that doesn't necessarily mean you won't get a roommate there, because we do have students who are just now signing up for contracts. And so we're trying to get everybody slated into those spaces. And so we do make housing assignments between now and school starting pretty often, usually about once a week or once every 2 weeks. We're still making assignments for new students who are coming in. So just because you might have an opening in a suite or in your room, if you don't have a roommate quite yet, doesn't mean you won't get one. So you can look forward to that. But again, you can check your My Missouri State to see that information at any point in time. In Blair Shannon, do the residents clean their own bathrooms and provide supplies like toilet paper? The answer to that is yes. And in fact, in all of our suite style buildings, students who live in that suite are responsible for cleaning their own bathroom as well as bringing their own toilet paper. In our buildings that have community style or private single user private bathrooms, our custodial staff clean those. That's where you might have to walk down the hall. Our custodial staff clean those bathrooms. But in all of our suite style buildings, you are responsible for cleaning your own bathroom. So you might set up a cleaning schedule with your suite mates, and then that allows everybody to figure out who's cleaning the bathroom when, or who's gonna, if someone cleans it one week, is someone else gonna buy the toilet paper the next, that kind of thing, and kind of figuring that out. Why was the move-in dates potentially changed? My daughter received an email that new dates would be sent back out. I think she's referring to the email or the move-in date that was probably on the roommate summary. So I can tell you that whenever we initially sent out housing assignments, that students, whenever they logged in, they did see a contract start date. We had previously always put our contract start date on that assignments portal when you log in. And when you logged in, it would have said the contract start date was the 14th of August, because that is the contract start date even for this fall. But with regards to the pandemic and COVID, we have had to extend our move-in process beyond just a weekend, which is what we usually have done in the past. And so we've extended that move-in time period to a full week between the 9th and the 16th of August. And so that wasn't necessarily a move-in date, but that was the contract start date. And so students will be able to sign up for a move-in date and time next week. So we appreciate your patience during the pandemic and COVID, and kind of having to change our process from a weekend where we would move in 4,000 students just in a couple days to truly a week-long process. Do LLC communities move in earlier in the week, or does that matter this year? Great question. So our Living Learning Community students, we have a number of students who are assigned to Living Learning communities. We have 15 LLCs, and those students will have socials that start on Thursday that week before school starts. And so we do want all of our LLC students to try to get moved in before their first welcome social. And so we have a few of those welcome socials starting on that Thursday. And so that'll be indicated whenever the students who are assigned to Living Learning communities log in to pick a time. It will remind them that they're a part of an LLC and show them the dates that will best get them moved in by those social start times. When are room numbers assigned in Hammonds? So know that if you have not been assigned a room, you might want to call our office actually and see if you have a completed housing application. So once you have a completed housing application, we will make assignments. Typically, like I said, at this point, every couple weeks, sometimes even sooner, depending upon how many folks are in that assignments process. And so room numbers, if you have already been assigned a room and you're just not sure what it is, you can actually log into your mymissourystate.edu under the Campus Life tab in the Housing channel, and then click again your room or roommate summary piece, and that's going to tell you essentially what room you're assigned to, as well as any roommate or suite mate information. Next, where do we select our move-in date? So again, on Monday, everybody's going to receive an email. When you receive that email, it will open up kind of the ability to go in and select a date. Now, where will you do that? What link will you use? That's probably a good question. That's also going to be in your mymissourystate.edu under the Campus Life tab, under the Housing channel. You're going to see a move-in time selection link. And under that link is, and you can actually see it now if you were to log in, but if you click on it, it'll say, this is available next week. So just know it's not available quite yet. It will be available next week, but that is where the link will be that you will sign up. And so again, once you receive that email on Monday, that's when you are all set to go to pick a move-in date and time. What is the school start date? So classes start on the 17th of August. And so that's a Monday. August the 17th is when classes start. So just be sure that you are all moved in and ready to go by that date. What types of appliances are allowed in the dorm room? Great question. So we allow toasters, but not toaster ovens, blenders, auto shut-off coffee pots, air-popped popcorn makers, and then we provide the refrigerator and microwave in each living unit. So those are kind of some of the things. Know that you will have additional accessories, I would call it, or baking things that you can check out from the front desk. For example, sometimes students will choose to check out maybe a cookie sheet at the front desk and then take it downstairs to the building community kitchen and cook up some brownies or cookies or something like that. So we do have a building community kitchen located in each building that students can utilize, and you can check out those pots and pans and things like that from the front desk for free, just using your BearPass ID. But as far as what's allowed in your room, it's pretty limited to just the coffee maker, toaster, again, not toaster ovens, air pop popcorn makers, and blenders. Is there a fridge and microwave included in Freddie and in Blair Shannon? Yes, there is, again, a refrigerator and microwave located in each living unit. And in fact, in Blair Shannon, because it's suite style, they actually have an additional refrigerator in the suite area, as well as a smaller refrigerator in each room. So just know that that's kind of the setup over there. How much is student parking? Good question. So I am not up to speed on the exact cost of student parking, but I think you can check that out on our parking administration website. Once you go through SOAR and you are registered for classes, that's when you'll be able to get your parking pass. And so you'll be able to order your parking pass through your My Missouri State portal. Again, sign into your mymissourystate.edu portal. And then there is a parking, you can purchase your parking pass online there. And so again, you do have to be signed up for classes first and registered for classes before you can get your parking pass. But once those two things happen, then you'll get your parking pass. For the residence halls, there's two types of parking passes. There's going to be the red parking pass and the green parking pass, kind of denoting which residence hall you live in. So that should be helpful there. Let's see. When will dining halls start serving food? And will we be able to eat during the move-in week? Yes. So great question. Again, because of the pandemic and kind of this unique circumstance, our dining centers are going to be serving food from the 9th to the 15th. Now, your actual meal plan on your BearPass card won't start until the 14th, because that's when our meal plans were already programmed to start. And so know that, on your card, they won't start till the 14th, but you will receive a meal band at the point of check-in that will allow you to eat in the dining centers. So know that we will have meals during that time so that you can make sure that you can eat there. Okay, let's see. Oh, and will we be able to use it during move-in week? Yes. Okay. Let's see. Will COVID testing be available to students that may be exposed at school, especially before breaks? So just know that, yes, our Majors Health and Wellness Center, is already essentially to handle any COVID testing that needs to take place. And so if you have a concern, if you are sick, our Majors Health and Wellness Center is going to take care of you. And in fact, they've been even doing, if you call in advance, they can do virtual visits. So they have lots of different options to help you, regardless what kind of sick symptoms you might have. So know that our Majors Health and Wellness Center will help with all of your wellness needs. In the Majors Health and Wellness Center, they even have our counseling center, and they do wellness programs and other things. But they will help you if you get sick, and your student fees actually pay for that. So you can go over there and see a doctor for free. With regards to the COVID testing specifically, you might be wondering, do they have the capability of doing the test at Majors Health and Wellness Center? They do. And so if there's any concerns at all, you can hop on over to Majors or probably call in advance, and they'll tell you what to do. What are the COVID precautions that are put in place already and that will be made as we move in? Great question. There's a lot of precautions that we're taking right now. We have really drastically changed our move-in process, and that hopefully will help us kind of manage the folks who are getting moved in. I can also tell you that there are a number of precautions that we're taking for special populations. So for example, our student athletes, as they arrive to campus, they're actually getting tested as a precautionary measure to see, their COVID status. And so that is actually going to be taking place for a couple different groups that we have on campus. And, we're doing a lot of additional cleaning that you're going to see. We have a lot of additional social distancing that you're going to see on campus. You may have, if you caught me early in the broadcast here, you saw me with my mask on. In our office, we wear masks. And so, we're just, again, trying to do our part with the pandemic. And so just know that there are going to be a number of different pieces in place with regards to COVID precautions. And you're not just going to see that in the residence halls, but you're also going to see that in your classrooms and in the academic buildings and across campus. And so I know that we've already got our signs installed about, how far apart is 6 feet, so that folks know where to stand and that kind of thing. We've got our plexiglass shielding up. So we're already taking a number of those precautions as our residence halls have been open. So if I can't get everything in 1 hour, what will I do? That's a great question. So if you were concerned about maybe needing an accommodation during a move-in, I would encourage you either to call our office and talk through that with us, or if you need any other accommodations, also the Disability Resource Center is going to be a great resource for you. So I would reach out to them as well, making sure that you're taken care of with any accommodations you might need. But we would also encourage you, if you're thinking, gosh, I have a lot of stuff to get moved in, you might kind of start to think about how might you refine what you're bringing, and think about how can I get everything moved in a timely fashion. And so we will have carts and laundry carts again available, and that we're sanitizing between uses to hopefully help you get everything from your car inside in a timely manner. But we would encourage you to really consider kind of what all you're bringing. I can tell you that some of our returning students would give the best of advice of things like, you might not need 30 pairs of shoes, your first week on campus. So just think about what you really need in college. And even though, again, we get 4 seasons worth of weather here in Springfield, you probably don't need to bring all 4 seasons worth of your wardrobe. So you might really think about what do you need right off the bat, for the first few months of school to kind of get you through, and then think about what you might be able to bring at a later time. So we move all of our stuff in 1 day and then leave and go home? ? No, actually, starting the 9th, if your move-in date and time is the 9th, you can get moved in, and then you can simply stay. And so that way you can start getting acclimated to campus. You're going to be able to eat in the dining centers and just kind of get used to campus and maybe kind of learn your way around, find your classes, that kind of thing. So you won't have to go home once you get moved in. Why was move-in changed to 1 parent since everyone is from the same household? Good question. So again, we really need to manage the number of people who are in the building at any given time. And so with regards to how we are managing the number of folks who are in the building at any given time, just like our retail operations. You might go to a big box store and they have to note how many people are in the building at any given time. We do as well. And so it's important for us to know that we are managing the number of people moving in at any given time because it's a pandemic. And so we really need your help and cooperation kind of with this plan so that we can get everybody moved in a safe manner. Are guests still allowed on campus and in the dorms this year? Good question. So we will allow guests or visitors into the lobby area, but not past the lobby. So students will not be able to have guests or visitors past the lobby this year. And that is how we're starting the year. Now, I can tell you that as we go throughout the year, if the pandemic disappears, then we might be able to get back to normal. But we're going to have to start the year with some restrictions and precautions because of COVID in place. And so again, we know that this isn't normal or what we would ideally want to do, but again, it's a pandemic. And so we have to be cautious of the number of guests and visitors and traffic in all of our areas, lobbies, going through doors, things like that, so that we can try to maintain a level of sanitation as well. So it's going to be important that we do limit guests and visitors just to the lobby of your residence hall. But again, this is the Ozarks and we have beautiful weather outside. So you're going to be able to spend plenty of time outside this August, hanging out with friends. And there's been lots of different areas. We even have some great hammock areas. So if you have a hammock, you might bring that so that you can kind of hammock outside together and just kind of enjoy the weather outdoors. Now, let's see. Next, we have, we were told on our SOAR session that other visitors are not allowed in rooms. Can you expand on the visitor policy for parents and family? Yes, great question. So again, we are not letting visitors, guests, friends, anybody pass the lobby. So all of our residence halls this year will be on card access, and you will have to have your access card to be able to get into your residence hall and really get past the lobby. So it's going to be important again for us to manage the number of guests and visitors into the building. Again, if the pandemic changes second semester and we're in a different place, then we hope we can, kind of forego some of these restrictions down the road as the pandemic, goes away. But right now we're just not in that place and we have to be cautious of that. And so we do need to do our part in making sure that we are managing the number of people in the building at any given time, managing the contact, managing sanitation of surfaces and things like that. So it's going to be important that we do kind of follow those precautions in place. Next, I have the Board of Governors Scholarship. In the future, if I don't live on campus, what happens to the $1,000 that are designated for housing? Do I just not get it? Great question. So there is a component to some of our scholarships in which that money can only be used in on-campus housing. And so that is true, that you can only use it on campus. And so that's another great reason to consider living on campus from year to year. There's a number of great reasons why our students continue to live with us from year to year. In fact, we have a high number of students who retain from their first year to their second year who live on campus with us. Honestly, usually it's because of the convenience, the $100 housing deposit rolls over. There's just a number of, the community that we build on campus. It's a great living environment. It's super convenient, just a number of different reasons. And in fact, this past May, we graduated 127 seniors who were living on campus with us and graduate students. So we have a number of students who just continue to live with us. Sometimes it's because of their scholarship, and other times it's just because they love living on campus. Will there be social distancing in the bathrooms in Freddie? Great question. So our staff are actually looking at different ways that they can actually clean the restrooms and community style bathrooms already. And so you're going to see additional cleaning in those bathrooms in different ways that we've never cleaned before. All kinds of different and unique new tactics with regards to the pandemic and sanitation. So our custodial crew has been working hard at learning and training on those new procedures. And will there be social distancing in the bathroom, and what will that look like? That's a great question. So some of those finer details are definitely still going to be ironed out, but I can guarantee that we're going to encourage social distancing everywhere on campus because that is truly the way to stop a pandemic, is by social distancing and wearing the masks and all the things, right? So we got to do our part. And so you're definitely going to see social distancing on campus kind of everywhere you look. I know that Even like I said, even in our office, we've got the stickers that say every 6 feet, and you're going to see those in a lot of places on campus. And so taking that personal responsibility to social distance is going to be important, again, to just prevent the spread of the pandemic. So there was a clarification. When you say an hour to move in, do you mean an hour to move things up to the room or an hour to be in the building? Can we stay in the room to set things up after we are done moving things into the room? Great question. So we do have an hour time slot allotted for each family essentially to get their student moved in. Beyond that, then the student can take the time that they need to unpack, decorate their room and whatnot, essentially the rest of the time that they have before classes start. And so sometimes the students, some of the students will be moving in on the 9th, and then they're going to have that entire week essentially to get settled, get really kind of relaxed and moved into their room before classes start. But we do need everybody to stick to that hour time slot so that we can, again, manage the number of people who are in the building at any given time. So that's just a real important key piece that we've been working with leadership on. Next, are there events planned for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, for parents and students? Another great question. So events are going to look real different this year. And in fact, there's going to be events all week long leading up to that week before classes. So the 9th through the 15th. And in fact, some of the events people have asked, how are they going to look? How are they going to look different? And you might see, for example, a scavenger hunt or something that might be repeated a couple different times. So if you couldn't make it on one day, maybe a couple days later you might. So again, they're going to be smaller events, but maybe offered multiple times. You might see more outdoor events. We're really getting creative right now. This is probably the most creative I've ever seen us get with regards to different options for events for during that week before classes start. So I think you're going to see a number of different programs. Now, specifically, if you're asking, are there specific programs like we used to have big programs on Friday and Saturday for students and parents where we would gather thousands of people together? It's a pandemic and we just can't do that this year. So you are going to see a few less programs. I know that our parent and family programs are going to be handing out water and things like that during the move-in process. So you will see a presence for, supporting families and parents and students on campus during that time, but there may not be as many large-scale programs like you were used to. If you want, you can actually check out the Missouri State the Missouri State Welcome Weekend website, and that's going to list any of the confirmed programs that we're able to hold that week before move-in. And so I would encourage students to check that out. In fact, we're probably going to give kind of a link to that whenever they check in and move in to the residence hall to hey, check out Welcome Weekend events, or Welcome Week events this year. To kind of just know what's going on. And so there's going to be those events posted online as they're confirmed. How do we know what floor we're on? Oh, great question. So oftentimes the floor that you're on is actually kind of embedded, if you will, into your room number. So for example, if your room number was Blair Shannon, Blair 307A, that means that you're on the 3rd floor in suite number 307. So, and in room A. So that's kind of one way that you can tell what floor you're on. Or for example, if you are in Woods 512, then you would be, on the 5th floor. So that might help you kind of figure that out. If you do have any questions though about what floor you're on, feel free to give us a call here in the office and we'd be happy to explain any of that to you. How do the music practice rooms in Blair Shannon work? Great question. There's a key at the front desk that students just take their BearPass card to, their photo ID, and they'll swipe their card, and then they get the key to the music practice room. And that works the same way with our music practice room in Blair Shannon. And then in Wells, for example, we have the card access. So students can actually just go right down to the music practice room, swipe their card access, and can utilize the music practice room that way. So it kind of works a little different in each building, but in Blair Shannon, there's a key at the front desk. In Scholar's House, is a shower curtain provided, or do we have to purchase one? So we actually provide shower curtains in all of our suite style residence halls and also in our community style bathroom. So you don't have to purchase your own shower curtain. I know that sometimes students like to bring their own, but do keep the one we provide as you'll need to turn that in at the end of the year. So you won't have to purchase the shower curtain. I know that some of our tours, we didn't have the shower curtains hung at that time, but know that those shower curtains are provided. Come move in. So With community kitchens, do you have to reserve a time? No, not necessarily. As long as, again, everybody is able to socially distance in that community kitchen, no need to reserve the time. If we have twins attending, can a parent help each student? Great question. So we have a number of students who have siblings who are twins or even triplets. And so, yeah, we understand that, maybe folks might be coming down, two parents helping two students and moving into different buildings. That's very common on our campus. And so absolutely, you're welcome to, send folks to help both those students. That's not a problem. What is the best day to move in on move-in week? Great question. I don't know if there is going to be a right answer to this because realistically, it might look different for each family. And when you're able to, take off work maybe to come down and assist your student. And so, really, we have a number of options for students to move in between the 9th and the 16th. And so, I would say the best time is what's best and right for you. So just check out those times that are available next week and sign up what works for your schedule or situation. Do move-in helpers need to sign in? In fact, everybody will be going through COVID screening when you go through that drive-through process at that parking lot we've designated. And so know that whenever you go through the drive-through process, there will be COVID screening. And then at that point in time, our helpers or move-in helpers to the student will receive actually a name tag, a name badge that indicates what time they're there, their time slot, so that we know that they've also passed COVID screening. And so that will be kind of the way in which you quote unquote sign in during the move-in process. So we're kind of managing some of those pieces. Do we need a COVID test or physical before moving in? Good question. So now there are some subpopulations that are receiving COVID testing as a precautionary measure, but that's going to be the student athletes that are doing that. Our international students are actually doing some proactive COVID testing right when they arrive to campus. But as far as our general population, you won't necessarily need a COVID test or physical before you move in. And so you don't have to worry about that. But we do have some small populations, again, like our student athletes who are going to be COVID tested. So if you have questions about which group you're in, feel free to call our office or reach out to maybe your organizer. If you're a student athlete, you're going to be assigned a trainer. You can ask them those questions and how does that work? What does that look like? When do I get tested? All that kind of stuff. Are masks required all over campus? And will we be required to wear masks while moving in? So that's a great question. Masks and the question of masking or not masking, I think, is the question of the century at this point in time. So I'm sure you've seen a lot, with regards to masking and whatnot. And it does raise the question, what's going to happen on our campus? So I can tell you right now that Greene County, which is the county in which, Missouri State is in, recently passed a masking ordinance. So I can tell you that if you go to, let's say, our local Walmart to pick up, a case of water or something, you're going to need to be wearing that mask. And so do know that we will also be providing masks to students when they move in, as we are going to be strongly encouraging mask wearing. And also know that then if there are additional ordinances or university guidance that says that they are required in certain areas, then you're going to be required to wear those in certain areas. Some of that is still being determined. And so I know that our leadership team at Missouri State has been working closely, hearing feedback from town halls, understanding what people are, able to do, what they're interested in doing with regards to the pandemic and wearing masks or not wearing masks and their thoughts, listening to the scientists about what, is going to hopefully slow the cause of this pandemic. And I can tell you that at a minimum, masks are going to be strongly encouraged pretty much everywhere you look. Now, they are also going to be required in certain areas, but as far as what areas of campus that is, I think that there's probably more to come on that. And so I don't know that I can give you a straight answer on exactly where you'll be required to wear masks or not wear masks. But do know that more is coming on that. And so I think that we're going to be hearing more about masking requirements as we approach school starting. So know that more information is coming on that. At a minimum, it is strongly encouraged, and we'll be providing masks to students because, again, that's how we're going to slow this pandemic. And it's going to be an important piece, especially as we're kind of coming and going from the building and things like that during the move-in process. And the next question is, if I am in a private 2-person room in Blair Shannon, am I allowed to use the other closet and bed in the room? Great question. So if you are paying for the private room rate and you are assigned a private room, then you are able to utilize that other bed and other closet. If you are in a double occupancy room and just happen to not have a roommate, then no, unfortunately, you can't take over that other bed space, another closet, because at any point in time, you might get a new roommate. So, will the rooms be cleaned and disinfected before move-in? Actually, our team has been going through almost all summer and able to go through all of the spaces, cleaning them, disinfecting them, and making sure that they're ready for move-in. So do know that our staff have actually been working on that task since around March. Should we bring a couch cover, or is the furniture cleaned in the Blair Shannon suites? So know a couple things. You are welcome to bring a couch cover if you would like. I know that some students just kind of do a throw, if you have like a throw rug or throw, a blanket over the couch, if you will, just to kind of give it a little decoration. So you're more than welcome to do that. You're more than welcome to bring a couch cover, but you don't have to bring a couch cover if you don't want to in Blair Shannon. So. How are you guys doing the kids when they come back from breaks? So I'm wondering if maybe that question is in relation to maybe additional COVID screening after breaks and things like that. I can tell you at this point in time, we are really looking to get through move-in. And then I can tell you that there's going to be potentially additional, information coming beyond that. But as far as, how are you guys going to do when students come back from breaks? I don't know that I have a complete answer for that question at this time. When moving, can we arrive before the hour and drop things off outside the building so we can maximize our hour rather than running back and forth to the car? Good question. So we are going to ask that during this move-in process that you won't get keys to your room or building until you really go through that drive-through process. From that time on, you will have the hour to get moved in. Now, if you're like, okay, well, maybe we can drop a few things off in front of the building and you choose to do that, then that would be up to you. But as far as coming into the building, we would not be able to let folks into the building more than beyond their hour that they were assigned. So I hope that answers your question there. How tall are the beds in order to put storage underneath? This is a great question. And so, in fact, some of our beds are adjustable. For example, in Hammond's house, they have some adjustable beds. Or like I said, in Wood's house, they have the junior loft style beds. And so just know that we have some dimensions actually that you can find on your specific residence hall online. So if you go to our Residence Life website, and then you click on campus housing, go to your building that you are going to live in, and then under room layouts, you're going to find a specific PDF document that says room dimensions. And in that room dimensions document, you will find a ton of information. We will give you the exact length, width, and height of the bed. We will tell you how much space is underneath the bed so that you know just what kind of maybe plastic shoe boxes, if you will, to purchase to put underneath the bed and that kind of thing. So you will find exact dimensions for each building specifically. That is going to be, again, on our website under on-campus housing, under the building that you're living in, and you click on room layouts, and there is a PDF document called room dimensions, and that's going to be very specific. Let's see, can you use bed risers to put things under the bed? Unfortunately, no, we can't use bed risers. Actually, the bed risers, when used, can sometimes wiggle the bolts loose on the bed frame and can cause it to be unsafe. And also, our manufacturer of our frames, our bed frames, will not guarantee our bed frames for us if we allow the use of bed risers. So unfortunately, we can't allow the use of bed risers on our campus. However, all of our beds on our campus can be bunked. So essentially, they can be stacked on top of each other. And you can get the bunking pegs from the front desk of your residence hall if they're not already built into the bed frame. How exactly are we getting our photo IDs for online SOAR? Great question. So in fact, if you are doing an online source session, you will be provided a Bear Pass ID, most likely without a photo on it, during the first week that you're here. And so you're going to need to, once you get here, you're going to have your Bear Pass card, but it's just going to have your name and M number on it. It's not going to have your picture. So what you will need to do is then take that, as well as a photo ID of yourself, over to our library or to the Bear Pass card office and get a printed picture on an ID. So those kind of cards without your photo ID will expire at a certain point a few weeks into school. And so you're going to need to make sure that you do get over right away. Once you get here, you're going to get that kind of temporary card, and then you're going to need to go get your picture taken so that you have your permanent Bear Pass card to utilize on campus. Let's see. Okay, it says, can I still move things in? I'm in Springfield by myself after the hour is up. Great question. So if you are coming alone and you live in Springfield, know that you will be able to kind of come and go from the building as you need to. However, again, we won't allow the guests into the building after the move-in process. Pride Band members must move in early. So how will we be certain to get a move-in date and time on August the 9th? Great question. I'm glad that they've been communicating with you on when you need to get moved in by. Whenever our band members, they have actually shared a list of specific students with us of who is in the band. When you log in, it is going to be specific, and that your date will actually already be chosen for you, and you'll simply be choosing a time. So if you're part of band, your date has been chosen, and you'll just be choosing a time on Monday when you get that email. So know that that's going to look a little bit different for you, but it'll explain it in the move-in time selection process. What do the times range from each day for students moving in? Another great question. So we're going to have our check-in tent staffed from 9 to 7. So you'll be able to choose check-in times from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And that will essentially be kind of our main move-in process, again, from Sunday the 9th through that week. Do I need to have a parking pass the week of the 9th through starting this? The date through the start date of school, sorry. So great question. Once you are registered for your classes, I would encourage you to hop online and go ahead and get that online parking pass. And in fact, typically during that process, when you say, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to buy that online parking pass, it'll allow you to print a temporary parking pass while they mail you the actual sticker for your car that you'll install. So yes. Great question. What if we had another carload of move-in items that we cannot get done during our 1 hour time slot? Will our student be able to have someone help them move their other things in with another student? That's a great question. Can two residents of the same building maybe move items in beyond that 1 hour time slot? I think that's the question I'm hearing there. Specifically with that question, it's important that, again, we are going to have unloading spaces for families that are really close to the building. It's going to be important that those students are moving their cars from those unloading spaces to allow the next family behind them the same opportunity to unload. And so it is going to take some kind of planning, if you will. We would encourage you to really think about how much you're probably bringing, with regards to what you really need for move-in. In our move-in brochure, you'll see a move-in guide list, if you will, of what things to bring or not to bring. And you can also find that online under the Welcome Weekend website, and you can kind of check out some information there as well. But we would encourage you to just bring what you need to bring. And so I would say try to just condense essentially what you're able to bring so that we can continue to keep those cars moving from those unloading spaces. Does the room door in Hammond's lock or unlock with the use of a key card? Oh, good question. So all of our doors in all of our residence halls lock with a physical key, not a key card. So you will have like a physical key, just like you'd have at home, that you will use. And every door, every room door has a deadbolt and a peephole. So you'll be assigned a key at check-in. Now you might be wondering, okay, well, how do the locks work in suite style, right? So let's just say you have, a suite with 2 rooms. Well, the key that you might be issued will work on the suite door when you approach it, but will only work on your door. And your suite mates, their key is going to work on the main suite door and only their door. So your keys won't work on each other's rooms, if you will. So that's a common question that we get. Good question. If you test positive for COVID, will you have to move back home? Or is there a place for you to stay while away from others while on campus? Great question. So we do have a residence hall that is designated for students who test positive for COVID on campus. And so know that we do have a way in which we will remove that student who tested positive from the general community of residence halls at that time. And at that point, we're going to be working really closely with Bajor's Health and Wellness Center on campus and also Greene County health officials to make sure that we're following all the protocols that we need to. Does no guests mean no guests from outside campus or other students or none at all in the dorms? Good question. So when we say guests, essentially each student is going to be issued an access card that allows them into their building on campus, their residence hall. And that access card isn't going to allow you into any other residence hall. And so when we say no guests, we do mean no guests that are not assigned essentially to that residence hall. So i.e., if I live in Blair Shannon, I'm not going to be able to go past the lobby of Freddie or the lobby of Wells, for example. So that does mean, if you will, other students, but also no outside guests. Are roommates or suite mates required to move in at different times? Great question. So we do have a limitation on the number of people who are moving into any given building, any given floor, and also into rooms. And so you will not be moving in at the same time your roommate will be moving in, because otherwise then we have multiple families essentially who have interacted and had contact. And so again, we're trying to reduce the contact during this pandemic with additional folks. And so just know that you won't be moving in at the same time as your roommate or suite mates there. If parents are helping, but only one at a time, will they both get name badges to know that they both went through the COVID screening? Great question. So we will test everybody who is in the vehicle for COVID screening, but we will only provide one sticker, knowing that then there only is one guest in the vehicle. So I would encourage you, if you don't think that you're going to pass COVID screening, looking at those CDC guidelines, if you have a temperature, you're seeing symptoms, things like that, we would encourage you just not to come during move-in process. And so we would encourage you to really think about that piece, because again, it's a pandemic and we have to be kind of extra cautious during this time to be able to get everybody moved in safely. Are there beds in Freddie bunkable? The beds in Freddie are absolutely bunkable. So that's no problem. You can get those bunking pegs right from the front desk. Are students supplied with Ethernet cables, or do we need to bring our own? Also in Woods, do we get a closet/chest of drawers each, or do the roommates have to share one? Good question. So we would encourage you to bring your own Ethernet cable. That's going to be the fastest way that you stream or do gaming, if you like to play PlayStation or Xbox or anything like that. So be sure to bring your Ethernet cord if you have one for fastest streaming capabilities. We have an Ethernet port per pillow. So each student has their own Ethernet port. So you won't be competing with your roommate on that one. And then the other question was, in Woods, do we get a closet or a chest of drawers each, or do roommates have to share one? So in Woods' house, you will each have a small chest of drawers that you'll have, and then you'll also have an open closet space each. So each student does have kind of their own space for their own clothes. Do I need to call the dining hall ahead of time before moving in to let them know about my food allergy? Great question. So we would encourage, if you have any food allergies, you can either call the dining center in advance, but actually it might be easier once you get here to simply just meet with, let's say you live in Blair Shannon, or you live in Hammonds or Hutchins, and you typically eat at Garst. We would encourage you just to go into Garst and say, hey, I have some food allergies. I would love to talk to one of the chefs or managers. They're actually going to be able to walk you around the dining center and kind of show you all the hacks, if you will, of what your food allergy might be. So for example, in Garst, they have what's called the G8 line, which means that they avoid the most common, the 8 most common allergens. So like, fish, shellfish, all the 8 most common allergens, if you will. And so there's a lot of different ways to that the dining centers will meet food allergies, but sometimes you might have to kind of look for what those hacks are. They have what's called a My Pantry, where you can typically get some of your own, things that will also meet your food needs as well. And then specifically, I've even seen students who are like, well, I'm really worried about my food allergy. They've met with a manager, and if they call ahead, they'll even make them a meal that is special to what they need. So our dining centers will really bend over backwards to try to make sure that they are meeting your needs with regards to your food allergies. But I can tell you that there's a lot of common allergies that they're definitely used to, whether it be gluten-free stuff or, red dye number 7 or whatever. They're used to a lot of those kinds of food allergies. So just talk to a manager when you get here, and they'll be able to walk you through all the different kind of dining center hacks, if you will. And then on their website, dineoncampus.com/Missouri State, you can even find some unique things about like how to eat paleo in the dining center and some of those kinds of things too. When is the due date for paying for housing? Good question. So if you're talking about the housing charges, those will be applied typically the first or second week in August to your university account. And then those are usually you have like a payment plan with our financial services to pay off your university account. So any charges at the university, like from the bookstore, from housing, your meal plan, those all go onto one university account. And then you work with financial services to pay down that account. If you're looking for where to pay that, it's going to be under your mymissourystate.edu under account balance, and you'll be able to see it there. But again, those housing charges won't be loaded till a little closer to August. Will other buildings besides dorms be open during move-in dates, like the library, the bookstore, etc.? So that's a great question too. You can actually go onto our website and see what buildings are open already. And so I know that we had a number of offices that may have been working from home for a while, but they've mostly just returned to campus now, especially now that SOAR is getting going. And so you can check out their hours online. I know that our bookstore is planning on being open, once folks are here. But also keep in mind that the bookstore, that if you buy more than $75 worth of books, they'll mail your textbooks home. So you might check out or talk to the bookstore, and you might be able just to get your books mailed to you at home. And then if you really wanted to be studious, you can read up on those textbooks before you even get here. But anywho, they'll mail them to you, which might be even easier than standing in line once you get here. And then our library has been open. So they do have some modified hours, here and there, but our library's actually been open, and there's a computer lab in there that's been open and things like that. So for dining, will we be able to do takeout? Yeah, so right now, actually, we're able to do takeout, and we anticipate that that's going to continue, during the first part of school. Again, if this pandemic goes away, things might get back to normal, but until they do, right now we have options. You can go in and you can sit down. Know that there's a few less chairs in the dining center, so you might be sitting at a table by yourself or across from, your friend might be kind of down the table from you or something like that. So we definitely still have a dine-in option, but we also have a dine-out or take-out option. And so I know I've been doing that for lunches lately, just because, I've chosen to take that option. So it'll be up to you whether you dine in or carry out, if you will. As an honor student, do you get to move in sooner than non-honor students? Good question. So we actually, with this pandemic, we've opened up in a typical year, honor students do get to move in a little bit earlier before our massive weekend move in. But this year's, again, since we've opened it up from the 9th through the 16th for our kind of move-in week, you'll be able to sign up for a date and time that works for you and your family. So just know that that's going to look a little different this year. It's not necessarily that anyone has any priority over anybody else per se. It's just that, everybody's going to need to choose a date and time that works for them. And so we do have those time slots, again, scheduled from the August the 9th through the 16th. Does the Ethernet cord need to be Cat 5 or Cat 6, and how long does it need to be? Either would work, and as long as you need it. So also know that if you get here and you're like, gosh, my Ethernet cord isn't long enough, you can always hop over to the bookstore and they've got them over there. But I would say, you might just kind of think about how large your room is and where you might want to position your TV, and then that should be more than enough cable to bring. And if you have any specific questions, give us a call here in the office, and we can kind of walk you through based on, where you're assigned and where maybe you might, keep your TV or your gaming station and that kind of thing. If they test positive for COVID, can they opt to go home? Great question. I don't know exactly what Greene County Health Department would recommend when a student would test positive, whether they would recommend to go home or not to go home. And so we might have to actually ask that question to our Greene County Health Department, because if a student tests positive for COVID, we're going to be working very closely with them on all the guidance. But know that we do have a space on campus, a residence hall on campus that nobody's assigned to currently, that we will utilize if a student does test positive for COVID, that we would be able to move them to. Again, I hate to even speak on it, as far as, some parents might want to bring them home. I don't know, but that would probably be a better question for our Greene County Health Department, or maybe even Majors Health and Wellness Center, if you're looking to get a quicker answer than that. I know they work with Greene County Health Department on questions like that, so they might be better to answer that question. So, and then say your roommate or suite mate tests positive for COVID, will you have to be quarantined also? Oh, great questions. So those are all great questions that essentially we work very closely with our Majors Health and Wellness Center, and again, the Greene County Health Department on. We have essentially outlined an entire residence hall that is set aside that no one is assigned to currently, to utilize, that we can utilize for quarantine and isolation and all that kind of thing. But we currently, we would work definitely with our Majors Health and Wellness Center, because they're going to be doing contact tracing, in which, who did you have close contact with for how long, and those kinds of things. And so then typically that advice or recommendation of who should quarantine or isolate or get tested and all of that is going to be coming from our Majors Health and Wellness Center with guidance from the Greene County Health Department. So we're going to kind of do whatever they say we need to do, and go from there. So are we allowed to debunk the beds in Wells House? Well, yes, you sure can. If you are in a building that has bunked beds, you can either bunk them or you can unbunk them. So totally up to you. Are smart TVs not allowed? Smart TVs are allowed. And in fact, if you're wanting to connect wirelessly, we have a network called the MSU Home Device. And once you get here, you can you'll register any smart devices like Amazon Echoes or Dots or, smart TVs or whatever you need to. Any device that can't authenticate or log in, you can just register to that My MSU Home Device and be able to connect wirelessly that way. So, and then sometimes smart TVs even have an Ethernet port. And if you're looking for gaming on your smart TV, definitely bring an Ethernet cord for that. Can you bring a goldfish to live in your dorm with you? Absolutely. We do have a limitation of 20 gallons or less. So don't make sure your tank is 20 gallons or less. But you are absolutely welcome to bring a goldfish with you. Will we be slotted? So I apologize. We'll be able to move in on Sunday, August the 9th, for students that do not have to be there early for athletics or band, have a chance to move in that day. Great question. So we essentially have made sure that there is no more than 500 people moving in to campus any given day. And so if you hop on and you're like, I see availability on this day, select it. And then if you confirm it, it's yours. So, you're going to be able to see any of the open time slots between the 9th and the 16th that allow you to move in between 9 and 7 that day. So if there's a time slot open, hop on and you can get it. Again, once you get that email, you'll have be granted access to be able to get into that system, and you'll be able to do so. With that MSU Home Device, will you be able to use an Amazon Fire Stick? Oh, yeah. Yeah, essentially any device, again, that can't authenticate, which means log in with your MSU ID. Like your phone, you can authenticate. A computer, you can authenticate because you can type in your MSU ID and log in. That MSU Home Device is essentially for any kind of those smart home devices that you might need to utilize. Do you pay for Roku Ultra subscription service? Oh, good question. So you might be wondering about TV streaming. So we cut the cord on cable a few years ago, and we switched over to TV streaming. So what that means is you'll download the philo.edu app, and you can watch TV on your phone, your laptop, your computer, your TV by way of Roku. We do recommend the Roku Ultra. You would need to bring your own. I can also tell you that we see sometimes some of our students just bring an HDMI cable, and they'll just hook up their computer to their TV, and then they watch TV that way. So essentially their computer or their tablet is really what's streaming, the TV content and projecting to their TV. And that would be a way that you wouldn't necessarily have to even bring a Roku Ultra if you didn't want to. So just know that there's several different options of folks who, for watching TV streaming. With the TV streaming, you do get 20 hours of recording time, 80 HD channels, as well as all of our students have access to an HBO Go subscription. Now, know that the HBO Go is changing to HBO Max. So we're kind of in transition of our language on our publicity on that. But anywho, so just know that there's no shortage of TV watching essentially on campus. But you don't necessarily have to bring a Roku Ultra if you don't want to. But you would, some of our students do just use an HDMI cable from their computer. But we do recommend the Roku Ultra just simply because it is able to be connected with the Ethernet cord, and that's going to give you the fastest streaming. So if you're looking for, kind of fast streaming with, video downloads and things like that, that's what you're going to be looking for. Okay, let's see. Looks like, should we plan to provide our own dishes, utensils, etc. for the kitchenette area? And that is correct. Yep. So if you, want to have, snacks or something with your microwave and refrigerator, and you're like, okay, well, I might have some, paper plates or some, kind of kitchen utensils, if you will, for like a quick bowl of cereal or whatnot in the morning. Absolutely, you would bring your own. Yep. Okay. Well, everybody, it looks like we are just about at 5 o'clock. So I want to just say thank you to all of our friends from admissions who have been helping answer questions and moderating, as well as our team in Residence Life who have been answering those questions, to answer any questions you might have. Again, if you think of any questions we didn't answer today, feel free to, go ahead and call our office, shoot us an email, contact us on social media, any way that you can think of, get a hold of us. So then that way we can help answer any questions you might have. We want you to feel comfortable moving into campus, which is just in a few short weeks here, and we're gearing up for it. So my final thoughts would be check your Missouri State email. You're going to be getting a lot of information in the next few weeks. And so it's going to be critical to be checking your MSU email account to make sure that you're getting all the information. So I think that's probably my lasting thoughts. I want to thank our admissions team for helping host this event. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did. And again, we're excited to see you just in a few short weeks, and go Bears. Have a great day, everybody.